Tani Oluwaseyi, a little bit closer to home in MLS. He was linked with a move to Europe earlier this week, according to Tom Bogert. Reported that Minnesota United rejected a $4 million offer from a top-tier LaLiga club, Swansea and Preston North End. Of course, Daniel Jebison, also at Preston North End, reported to be interested in Oluwaseyi as well. He scored again this weekend and also assisted on a Make-A-Wish goal as well. Lots of news around Tani Oluwaseyi. What do you think is the right next step for him? And could he find his way out of Minnesota there, Brendan?
Man, we've had the conversation on this show, and I know I had it with somebody else. I don't know if it was Caldwell on TSN, but I really felt that Tani Oluwaseyi was like the next Canadian to make a European jump. And when we had the segment about all the American players in the gateway to the championship, I had said Tani Oluwaseyi, to me, seems like the type of guy that if I'm a league championship club, I am calling about. I am calling about because the price is, you're assuming the price is cheaper than an American player. It's someone that's performing, and it's also someone that's performing like at an American club. And I do think that European teams are wary of this, not local bias, but this inflated price that Canadian clubs, or inflated value that Canadian clubs put on Canadian players who are playing in Canada. So I genuinely find Tani Oluwaseyi very, very appealing. Not just for league championship clubs. I'd love to know who the hell this La Liga club was. Described at top tier, but like mid-table-ish. Like, who the hell is it? Like, would you pull Villarreal into mid-table-ish? Because I wouldn't. I think that's probably unfair. But are they potentially a 6 to a 9? Yes. So do they fit in that category? Like, I need to know who this team is. And I do also like laugh that let's just throw Swansea and Preston's names out there. So it won't be the end of it. I mean, $4 million, like, I understand why Minnesota shut that down, Alex. Like, they feel, this is a player that's got to be, almost approaching 8 figures, right? Why not try? Ask for 10 and you get 8. I still think that the other team is getting a bargain at $8 million. This is a guy that's got all the attributes that you want for a 25-year-old striker. He's proven that he can score internationally now as well. I think he's got a really good thing going, Ben. As you know, him and Kelvin Yeboah are a dynamic duo. So there may be a part of that where they think, okay, how good does he just look in that Minnesota system right now? But man, I think he's fully deserving of it. And if he got it now and felt that the gamble is right for him, then all the power to him.
To your point of Canadians leaving Canada, I guess, we haven't had much of a sample. Nathan Sleeb only went for around 2 million euros. I think Transfermarkt had that fee. So he wasn't the greatest example. Pedro Vite went for around 6. I suppose all of those help form a valuation of Tani Oluwaseyi. Georgi Mihailovic going for 8 million. It helps, right? It's someone moving within the league, an attacker who has good output. The one I look at right away is Patrick Agyemang, 8 million to Derby County. That kind of sets the market for, a national team forward. Thing is, Oluwaseyi's blown out anything Agyemang did this year. With his, he's been on a bit of a tear again, as he's been hot most of the season. He scored 2 great goals in Leagues Cup. This weekend he scores again for Minnesota. He has 12 goals, 8 assists in all competitions, 20 goal contributions. We're in mid-August, by the way. Like, that's actually low-key a pretty darn good season for the 25-year-old. Agyemang got 8 million off 7-1. So I think for Minnesota, it absolutely makes sense that they're holding out for more than 4 million. You have to be looking at that 8 million. Of course, Agyemang is slightly bit younger than Oluwaseyi, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, for Oluwaseyi, it would be good to see him make a move to Europe. Of course, as we say with all these guys, where in Europe, when, how much are you going to play? It is a World Cup year after all, and you are in scintillating form. But this is one where the championship, we had this discussion a few weeks ago of championship versus other leagues. Could we see more Canadians in the championship? Oluwaseyi seems like the perfect blueprint of one of the Canadian guys we'd like to see lead the way if there is to be a push to the championship. Funny enough, guys, on Twitter this weekend, I saw Opta updated their league rankings as they do periodically. The championship ranked just above Belgium by like this much. Like, Belgium was number 7, championship was number 6, and then the top 5 leagues were there. So it adds a point to our debate that they're really close, and maybe there's actually merit to, for De Fougerolles, you go to Belgium. For Oluwaseyi, you go to England. It would be great because he has the physical profile. He's really improved a lot of his all-around game this year, and he's scoring for fun.
I think one of the big things with Tani Oluwaseyi as well would be he's been able to adapt to different systems. We've seen him under Jesse Marsh really adapt in the way that he plays with Jonathan David or without Jonathan David, and the way that Jonathan David adjusts his game as well. But then Oluwaseyi goes back to Minnesota United, and it's this counter-pressing, counter-attacking, 35% possession, just chaos ball, and he's able to thrive in both systems. So if he goes into a new system like the Championship, I think he has sort of the footballing IQ to adapt to that and really thrive off the top. I don't know if a team like Preston is necessarily the team you should go to, because I know that a lot of us were doubting Daniel Jebuson's move to Preston North End, but a team like Swansea, potentially. I like the idea of Spain, but that might be a little bit too much of a step up. But the Championship, I would side with you guys. I think that's a fantastic option for Tani Oluwaseyi.
I would like to see him in Spain, but right now I think it's the wrong time. I don't think you want to gamble on that in a World Cup year. He's still trying to boost his stock in Jesse Marsh's team, right? And I think that there's a lot of players that consider moves or might find some certain moves appealing, and very few have the flexibility to make a move and get it wrong. Like Jonathan David, for example, if it doesn't work out at Juventus, and mind you, there's levels to that. I don't think that he's truly harming his place in Jesse Marsh's setup next year. But someone like Tani Oluwaseyi, who's trying to take that second spot from Kyle Aaron, who's trying to make sure that he's one of the five, I don't think he can take as big of a gamble as we've seen some players take, and Spain has been difficult. So I really love the idea of the Championship, and I don't pay enough attention to Preston, but maybe there's a part of that whole Jeppesen tandem, get more out of these two guys. We see that a lot with a lot of these clubs. Although there's one American they're really interested in, there's another one they're kind of interested in. They make it happen. The two guys. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's kind of part of that to the chatter. But also we got a few weeks left here and it's not done. So Tani Oluwaseyi watch. We're Tani time means something different right now.
One thing to watch for, both positive and negative. Of course, the Championship season started this past weekend. Whenever you miss preseason, it's always a bit of tough integration into a squad. On the flip side, he's fit, right? He's fit and in form. He's scoring for fun right now. But that means that he's been playing since February. And if there is a reality where the Championship, we have to remember, is a grueling season. You get the extra games to get it up to 46 or whatever it is. Plus, if you're pushing for promotion, that's extra games. You got Carabao Cup. There was Carabao Cup games this week, which, again, it's August. Why the heck is there Carabao Cup on? You've got FA Cup going on later down the road in December, January. It could be tough for Oluwaseyi to make that jump, play that many games, having already had the year that he's had, and then you go straight into a World Cup year next summer. So that is something to keep an eye on. Although maybe you do find the right enough club could be a place where you're rotating. And in the Championship, you're not as mad at that because there's more games to rotate into. Sometimes when you're at a club in a league where you're only playing 30 times, you don't have as many cups, rotation can be frustrating. But in the Championship, a club like this could actually be to his advantage. Plus, maybe he could find a club where he can learn off, maybe a bit more of a veteran striker and find a bit of a partnership. I don't have, I can't say I know the Championship enough to think of any clubs off the top of my head, but wrong comparison, but I just would use Wrexham because, again, they're more there. They've got a couple veteran strikers, right? Like an Ollie Palmer. Whatever an Ollie Palmer is at other clubs that aren't Wrexham, because I think they've got a bit too much up front. It would be cool to see Oluwaseyi learn from that version.